Hey there. This won't be a very easy video to record because I plan on making it a long video. So basically this video is going to be different from the rest because it's going to be part of just your exclusive pile. And we're going to work on questions, basically repair questions that you got wrong in the past. And here we're going to put them all together into one long video. Chances are I'll have to break up the questions into sections because the camera will die. So let's do as many as we can. Also different about this video will be the fact that, as you can see, there's no question written down. It would take up way too much time for me to write every single question because, as you probably noticed, every video before already had the question written down, and every time the camera turned on, it was already there. And I can't do that this time because I'd have to be erasing and starting again. And so since it's a video, what you're going to do basically is when you see, I'm going to hold the textbook up to the camera. When you see the question clearly, pause it. Make sure you write it down. Write it down on a sheet of loose leaf. Make sure you write it down, pause it, that's why we have a video, and then after you've written it down, unpause it and then follow me along. I'm basically going to be using the dry erase board just for the work, okay? So you do your work simultaneously if you like. You can try beating me to the next step if you want and checking to see if what you did matches what I did. You can do it whatever method you want. Sometimes there's more than one way to solve a problem. I'll talk about each problem for a bit. But again, this might be a longer video, and what's different about it is that we're doing one question after another, and that the questions won't be written down. So it's up to you to pause the video at the right moment when it's clearest. Write it down in a sheet of loose leaf, and on that same sheet of loose leaf, I guess, to follow me, alright? So here's that first one. And it's, where is it? It's right there. Is it clear? That's the one, number 51. So feel free to pause it. That's the one, and those are your choices, okay? Alright. So basically what I'll do is write it like this. 3 plus 4. In this case, it's kind of easy because this is actually what the question looks like. Alright? So what you should do here, because clearly it's just an arithmetic problem that involves more than one sort of operation, is write PEMDAS. That's just always what you should do. Okay? If you don't do this, you'll be tempted to do something, I don't know, based on whatever you probably did last. So if you were just working on distributing, you might feel tempted to distribute, and you shouldn't do that. You should do what's inside of the parentheses first. So here you say parentheses. Is there anything in the parentheses? There is. So it's this. And that's 7. You keep it inside the parentheses. Remember, we preserve parentheses. And then that 2, you just place it back up here. And then this time you could distribute it. And it turns into this. And what is that? That's 7 times 7. And that's 49. And that would be choice E. Alright? So the choices aren't up on the dry erase board this time because, again, I'm not writing the questions down like I did in the other videos. So it's your responsibility to pause it again when you see the question in front of the camera. Write the question down and the choices, and that's the correct answer here, okay? It's E. So again, the temptation you'll face is if you last were distributing, you might feel it's right to distribute to the numbers inside of the parentheses, but that's not what you're supposed to do. That answer is there because they know you're going to do it, and just make sure that you don't, alright? So that's the mistake you made before. Don't make it again. Make for yourself other questions like this. In fact, I'll make some for you. And again, since you can... I'm making these up from the top of my head. Let's see how good they come out. So here, next time you see me, have these ready, alright? We can go like this. These will all be simple. You can go 5 minus 3 here. You can do 2 plus 7. Or we can go, let's see. How's that? Alright? 3 questions. Just, you can consider these repair questions. They're questions that are exactly like the one that you got wrong, alright? So doing questions like these 3, and maybe even more if you'd like to, you can make them up on your own. They can be more complex than this, but the concept's the same. What you'll always have to do, again, this here will help you get it right. You have to write PEMDAS. Don't think you're too old or that's too like first grade or anything like that. You have to write PEMDAS every single time. And don't do mental math. Basically, every time you see a problem like this, actually write PEMDAS, actually go through all the letters, and show all your work step by step with arrows, okay? So you can pause it, write those down. Oops, sorry about that. And alright, let's see. The next question for us to do is 52. 52 is exactly like the last one. It's a question that involves, that's just an arithmetic question. So we have 49, take away, well, the square root of 49, take away the square root of 24. Now, I'll show you the question, though really, since it's an arithmetic kind of question, you kind of don't need to see the question, unless you really want to know the multiple choices. Let's see, where is it? It's right there. It's number 52. Do you see it? It should be nice and clear. Write that down now if you'd like. And that's what we're doing. Okay, those are your choices there. Just pause it. Alright, so let's do this. Alright, 49 is a perfect square. What number times itself is 49? It's 7. Okay? And then you have to do 7, take away some other number. The problem with 24, obviously, is that 24 is not a perfect square. But it doesn't matter because it's some number. So what do we know? It's some number between 4 and 5, right? Some number between 4 and 5 is this. So if we say this is x, we say x is some number between 4 and 5. And why do we say that? Because this to the second power is 16, right? And then this to the second power is 25. And as you can see, the number that this is equal to is some number between 16 and 25. All right, it's not 16 or 25, so it's not some number from 16 to 25. Remember our math terms. It's some number between 16 and 25. And 24 is much closer to 25 than it is to 16. So it's probably a number very close to 5. It's probably like 4.8, 4.9 or something like that. So you can guess. All right, let's say it's let's check out what 4.9 looks like. All right, let's do like this, make sure everything's lined up. Right, this 9 times 9 is 81. Then you do 9 times 4, that's 36. Right? Yeah. Plus 8, what does that give us? That's 16, 14, full, right? 44. And then that's 36. That's 16, that's 19. Add it up. That's 10, 14. That's perfect, actually. And then remember, you have one decimal space here to account for, and then one space decimal space there to account for. So I go like that. So it's almost exactly that, actually. That's as good as it gets ever. So we know it's 4.9. All right, we can say that. So what do we have? Let's focus on what we're doing. This number, I'll write it over here. That here, 49 is a perfect square. It's 7 minus this number, which we agreed is 4.9. So what's 7 minus 4.9? Ask yourself, what's 7 minus 5? It's 2.1 to account for that 0.9, right? So it's 2.1. That's our answer. Let's look at the choices that we had. Look here. Again, where is it? Right there. It says F. Is it 2? Let's take a look. It's not 2. The next one says, is it some value between 2 and 5? It is. It is. And you might be tempted to write 2, but it's not 2. It's not. It's some number or some value between 2 and 5. Okay? 2 is tempting because 2.1 is very close to 2, but no, it doesn't count. It's some value between 2 and 5. Alright? That's the answer. G. Okay, so what does G say? Between 2 and 5. That's our answer. Alright? Feel free to pause it at any time and you can go backwards again. We got kind of lucky, maybe, I guess. Though you know, you weren't guessing. It wasn't a wild guess. Again, we knew that the number was going to be closer to 5 than it was going to be to 4, right? Because 5 times 5 is 25, so that's awfully close to 24 already. So we knew the number was going to be very close to 5. And 4.9 is as close as you can get, really, while keeping it easy. Alright, so alright, next question. is question 54, and these questions come from Model Test 1. Okay. Take a look. That's it right there. Feel free to pause it. Alright. And basically I have to draw. Let me get a better marker. That's what we're drawing. And it's 3. Those are the numbers they give us, and what they want to know is the perimeter. What's the perimeter? Now, this one's one of those questions, I was going to say one of those rare questions, but let's hope we're lucky, and let's hope all the questions are like this. This is a question you can solve in like 10 seconds because it invokes a flashcard of yours and nothing else. One flashcard of yours, if you know it, will help you get this answer right away. And basically what that flashcard says is that if you have any shape like this that has a square cut out of it and the square is cut out of the edge like this, the perimeter is the same as if that square were present. So like basically that and that are the same. Okay? Why? Because this portion, let's get nice and colorful. This portion of the wall was pushed over to here, and then this portion of the wall was pushed over here, right? And since it got pushed, we moved it, and it ends up looking like that. Alright, so just study your flashcards, and you have to treat this one as if it were a whole rectangle. Alright, so in this case, you have to imagine it like this in your head. Let's erase completely. You have to treat it like this in your head, and go 4, 4, 3, 3, and then add them up. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 3 plus 3, that's 6. 8 plus 6 is what? 14. Alright, and then look in your book, and 14 was answer K. Alright, so they're trying to trick you because, you know, they leave a little hole there, but as long as the missing chunk is at the edge of the quadrilateral, then you'll always be able to know that that the perimeter is the same as if that whole square or that whole quadrilateral, rectangle, whatever it is, as if the whole thing were whole. Okay, you treat this one as if it were whole. See, that's what we did here. Because again, the walls have just been moved around, but they stay the same size. They just form a different shape. Alright, so that one's there. Let's go on to the next question. And the next question's question 55. You know how to get this one right. It's a shame. I mean, getting this question wrong on the test is a shame because it's kind of easy, and they just want to know how alert you are. So they said 1/5 minus 1/6 equals, and then they wrote this. Right here, you can take a look at the question yourself. Where is it? It's right there. See it? You can pause it, write down the choices if you want. Now, they're not saying this, which is what you thought they said when you solved this by yourself, and that's why you got it wrong. If they were saying this, it'd be different. They'd be asking you what fraction. They'd be asking you what fraction satisfies this subtraction problem, but they're not asking you that. They're asking you what denominator belongs to the fraction that satisfies that subtraction problem. Okay, so it's completely different. I know that sounds confusing. Just rewind what I said. All right, I think I said it pretty clearly. All right, so let's solve it. Obviously, to subtract fractions, it's the same as to add fractions. You have to make sure they have common denominators. So here we set them both to 30. We know that's their LCM, right? And then how did you get from 5 to 30? You did it by going like that. So whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. you go like this. And for that one, you go like that. 1 times 5 is 5. And then 6 take away 5 is 1. And then what do you have on the bottom is 30. And that's what we needed, right? We needed that bottom piece. So that's the answer. The answer is just 30. The answer is not 1 over 30. That's not the answer. Alright, so that's not the answer. This one here is the answer, okay? So the answer is 30. And look, they're counting on you being all psyched up and smart, but a little too clumsy for your own good or whatever. So they actually included, as you can see, 1 over 30. That's answer C. That's not the answer. The real answer, again, is choice B. Choice B is the real answer, alright? So that's the one you want to choose. Choice B. Alright, I'm going to give you some here. Pause it. And do something like this. Over, let's see, something like that. Next we can do, so you can do this one, and you can submit these to me next time you see me. You can go, yes. What could we do? Okay. Let's see. Let's see, that's... Alright, and what's n in number 1? And what's n in number 2? Alright, don't solve for the whole thing again. This is just practice questions. These practice questions are just like the one that you got wrong, which is 55 from that model test. Alright, so you can pause these questions, do these questions. These are good practice questions. You have to get used to doing a lot of work, and you have to try not to be too emotional about it. Just get the work done. Remember that other kids are doing a lot of work too, and luckily the school year is not that hard when it first begins. Alright, so it shouldn't really get in the way. You'll be doing basics in school. Alright. We're going to skip one of them because it's time consuming, it's not hard, and then we'll get back to it on its own little video because the camera's going to die. Let's see what we have next is this question. There's a lot of these kinds of questions. I really have no idea. I guess, let's see. They went like this. I hope this is not too small, is it? No, you can see that. Alright, good. They said that means this. And I'll show you the book so you can see it yourself, alright? Then 2 Alrighty. You can't see that, so we'll just shift it over, and now you can. Alright, so there's that question. Where am I? There it is. Okay. It's nice and clear. Pause it, write it down, write down the multiple choices if you want. And again, this is a repair video. These are questions you got wrong before, and we're making sure you don't get them wrong again. I'm explaining to you why you got them wrong. I'm explaining to you how you get them right, and then for most of them I'll probably give you questions to do that are just like them, so you're less likely to make that mistake again. You can make up questions of your own too, the way you do with RLRs, alright? That would be great. That would help you a lot. So basically what you want to do here is they give you this number, look, and you want to follow that setup. Every time you see A and then that little star and then B, that means get whatever first number is there and multiply by the second number. Hold on, the camera's having a hard time adjusting for some reason. Don't know what's wrong. Let's wait. There it goes. Good. Alright, so, well, it'll adjust in a moment. Alright, have patience. Sorry. So that there's going to be some number, and then there's going to be some second number. The problem here is, look at the way it's set up. That's just fine, because this together is going to give us a second number anyways. So what we want to do is basically go like this. 2, and what does this thing mean? It means that you have to go like this, basically. Why? Because this is the base. See? A is there, and then A has to become the base. And then that second value has to become the exponent. And here, the second value, even though they're both in parentheses and they have their own little business going on, whatever value comes out of this, ultimately is going to become an exponent. So, whatever this is going to become the exponent of whatever A is. And A this time is 2. And then this itself has to follow the same pattern. So 3, again, becomes a base. And this time, because following that little star is 2, 2 is going to become the exponent, so we repeat it. They could have even done it again. You just would have put more exponents, alright? And then you would have just gone this direction, solving it, alright? If there would have been like another exponent there, for some reason, okay? But there's not, luckily. I hope you get this. Otherwise, just remind me. Alright, so first we do this. The extremely good habit to always have. And then we say, is there any parentheses? And yes, sir, parentheses right there. So what does that do? 3, that goes like this. And what does that do? That goes like this. Right? And then we just have 2 to the 9th power. So let's actually do it. I think we have enough space right here. Right? We do 2 times 2 times 2, and this is just wasting battery life. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and someday you'll work on computers, and computer memory is going to follow a pattern just like this. They're based on digits of, I guess, I don't know if it's 2 or 8. When I was young, computers were so weak that they used something like 8 megabytes. Now, forget it. But the point is, like, look, this is going to turn into 2 times 2 is 4 times this 2 is 8, so it's going to follow a familiar pattern. 8 times 2 is 16 times that 2 is 32 times that 2 is 64 times that 2 is 128 times that 2 is 256 times that 2 is, I see you can't see again, so I'll shift it over. Well, you won't be able to see it. Times, look, it turns out to be, alright, 512. Do you see that? I'm sorry about us running out of space. It's extremely inconvenient for me to go around the other side, though I can sometimes, but look, take a look here. 512 is the answer, alright? So we just had to run through all these 2's. And it's good to memorize some of these times tables all the way up, like 2's and 4's and 3's. Alright, so that's your answer. It's 512. It was all a matter of what? Of knowing this setup. The setup's everything. You understand the question? In this case, the question is sort of like the setup already. Alright, so, and then you follow it. It just means that first value is a base, then whatever follows a star, it's a value itself. Whatever value that is, that's the exponent. So 2 was the first value, so we left it as the base, see? And then whatever the hell this turned out to be, I shouldn't really be cursing, I apologize. So whatever value this turns out to be is going to become the exponent, and there you have it. You follow the same pattern. Since this is the first one inside of the parentheses, it becomes the base, and since it's the second one after the little star thing, it becomes the exponent, and what we have is a base raised to the power of a base with an exponent. It looks sloppy, but it doesn't matter. In the end, it yields us an answer, which is 512. And that was choice. What question is this? Let's see. Questions? That's choice A, alright? That's our answer. You got it? Remember that you can, don't panic, remember that you can pause, so there's no problem. You can always pause the video and rewind, alright? So, where are we now? We're on 24 minutes, and this video is going to take a while to upload. That's alright though. 61, 65, we're on question 65 now. I like this question a lot. So you have to imagine a clock, okay? Not too hard to imagine when you have the SHSAT on your mind. And it's That's terrible. That circle's no good, but pretend it's a circle. And it says, I'll show you the question here. And again, when it's clear to you, where is it? There. Question 65, okay? So pause the video, write down the question, write down the choices again, alright? Let's get going. It says the smaller angle between the hands of a clock at 10 o'clock is what? So you know what a clock looks like. It goes like that, right? Let's write the numbers on the outside, though. This is 12, right? This is 3. This is 6. And this is 9. And this question assumes that you know what a clock looks like. I think everyone knows what a clock looks like, but this is what a clock looks like, alright? You kind of have to remember. And then it says it's 10 o'clock, alright? So, you know, the dot's in the middle, and then we're going to have the big hand, which is the minute hand pointing at 12, and then the small hand pointing at something, and it's not 9, it's 10. So here you have 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, right? It's pointing there. And they're saying, look, here you have like a massive angle, right? This big angle out here, they don't want to know that one. They want to know the smaller angle. See, the question says the smaller angle between the hands of a clock at 10 o'clock is what? So they want to know this angle here.